Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Trainz Simulator, Trainz. Today we'll be looking at a shop product from Trainz Forge. This is one I couldn't wait to do a review on, because it's one of those oddball locomotives that includes some very satisfying mechanical workings. So if some of you will recall, a while back, one of the videos I got started on was one of the Trainz Forge's products, the little Buttercup little 040 shop switch. It was a freelance model that had oscillating cylinders, which is very unique to train simulators in general. It's very unusual to see even in full size real life, but this one today has a triple cylinder with triple outside valve gear, which is very different. So this is the Washoe Valley 484 War Babies. These are fictional freelance locomotives. I have no honest clue what their base locomotive is. The boiler reminds me very much of an FEF, a Union Pacific FEF, but these are tiny. These are about the same size as a Frisco 482 from K&L. If I stuck them side by side, they're almost identical in length and size, but so these are really, really small for a 484, but they're fictional freelance models for their Washoe Valley map, which I think is available, but I have no idea how to download it because it's not a CDP file. So if you can figure it out, good luck. Let me know if you figure it out. But this is to go with that map. They have a ton of Washoe Valley products, and this is one of the more unique ones, built specifically for that road, not based off of a specific prototype. But it's a triple cylinder 484. It's got a kind of cool fictional background. Per their little story for it, they're built during the World War period and lasted until like the 1960s. Has mixed service locomotives, so they're pretty decent. They're pretty cool. But what I found stinking unique is this double outside valve gear on one side. So it's Walschaerts valve gear, and what we typically see on your average steam locomotive is this right here. And even then, if it's a lot of North American steam locomotives, if they've got a third cylinder, the third cylinder's valve gear is more often than not inside the frame, kind of like a Stevenson valve gear, which it's not the easiest to get in here to kind of show you, but normally you have a third cylinder inside, kind of like this, but it'll have Stevenson valve gear attached rather than outside Walschaerts valve gear. Now, what the advantage to each one is, I have really no clue. I would imagine the Stevenson is a little bit more of a headache due to it being inside the frame. Per any kind of maintenance, you would essentially have to be underneath the locomotive or lift the locomotive's boiler off of the frame to do much work. Whereas your outside Walschaerts here, well, it's just that it's outside. It's outside the frame. You get to most parts of it relatively easily, but it's a little more complicated. I imagine the timing for it is a real headache and such, but it's not a very popular idea. To my knowledge, the only locomotive that I have ever seen prototypically in the United States, per our history, is the Union Pacific 9000s, which are the big, famous 412-2s from UP, the Giant 9000 class. They're 3-cylinder locomotives, and they came from the factory with the inside valve gear, but the bald-face 9000s that had the famous pumps up on the front of the smoke box removed, they had the outside double gearing, but their pictures, videos of operation, even models are very, very rare to find with side views to watch this in motion. And models in general are rare, but it's a very odd, unique system that's extraordinarily satisfying to watch in operation, but I can imagine it is a real headache to time perfectly. So I found it really cool that whoever did these for Trainz Forge opted to shoot for this design, because I imagine it was a headache to model. So it really is really cool. It's really cool to watch. But for the pack, you'll get 3 different locomotives. You will get a kind of clean variant, the first variant, the clean kind of as delivered look here. And then you'll get a weathered variant here. It's just that one back there, but weathered. And then you'll get what they call a 1950s version, which has the white face on it, which is also weathered, so uses the same tender as the weathered. They all use the same sounds. They all use the same whistle, bell, chuff. Really and truly, there's not really any details that have changed. And they even say on their webpage for the story, the locomotives are only in service for, I believe, less than 20 years. So no real changes came about to them. So all 3 locomotives are pretty much the same locomotive, just different levels of weathering and different paint. But yeah, entirely fictional, entirely custom, with some very heavy Southern Pacific influence, which is also noted in their little story for them. Very heavy Southern Pacific influences. Matter of fact, honestly, they kind of remind me of a downsized GS, if I was perfectly honest, or even the MT4s, the Mountains. If you took the Skyline casing off the MT4s, and shrunk them down to this size, it really does kind of look similar. Truth be told, there's not too much I can say about the locomotive in itself, because I don't even know what they're based off of. I don't know if there's a base locomotive that they built these off of to start with or what, but yeah. My biggest interest is the mechanics. This is just too stinking cool. So let's dive into them. Boom. So here's number 1, the first one you'll get. As I said, there's no real difference between any of them outside of the weathering and the coloring. So the clean, obviously, no real dust going on. There's some light dusting, like the locomotive's cleaned up for passenger services, which I've got it hooked up to a proper passenger train here, but it does look pretty good. The knuckle coupler kind of kills me. It's very red, and it stands out very much. But let's see, let me get rid of that. Control details. So all of these will have the same options you can fiddle with. So train class, which is gonna add the flags up to your marker lights, white or green. It's gonna change the marker light color, white or green. And then smoke box door. Let's open the smoke box. We do have a detailed interior. Windows, the door, and the roof hatch. So the doors open inward, which is kind of unusual, but different. Pretty typical options for Trainz Forge. Bell. Actually sounds really good. I like the bell sound. Not my favorite whistle. It's not a terrible whistle, but it's definitely not my favorite. I don't care for it. Like I said, it's not bad sound wise. The sound quality is pretty decent. There's no weird popping or anything, but I don't care much for it. So that's what that one sounds like. And then we got the weathered. As I said, it's got the same options on it. It's just got a nice coating of sand front to back, giving a nice brownish hue. But other than that, there's really nothing else. And then we've got the 1950s version, which, like I said, really the only difference in the 1950s and the other two is just the white face. Other than that, there's really nothing else. I did change the whistle on this one though. I believe that one is a recording off of one of the Rio Grande K series. 494, I believe. It wears a New York Central whistle right now, or it did for this recording anyway. I believe it was a New York Central whistle that is available on the Trainz download station. I think it fits the locomotive better. I like it better. So anyway, let's listen to it and watch in operation what we are here to see. I do kind of get a kick out of the weathering on the wheels on the clean model. We've got the kind of dust in certain spots. It does have the inside cylinder modeled, which you can just barely see right there. It's not the easiest to see, but it is cool that it's there. You can see the rod in and out right there. But this is what we're here to see. This right here. This is too stinking cool. It makes for a very unique and satisfying set of valve gear to sit and watch. Honest to gosh, it does. It is kind of entertaining that they opted to do the double smokestack on this kind of cutout on the smoke box. It's very different. I don't know if there's a real purpose to it being done like that, but it's kind of cool. It gives it a unique appearance. But yeah, it's too cool. It's something that you never really see modeled. You never really see it in general. It's something that just didn't really take off in popularity. And of course, inside we've got our second, our inside cylinder, or inside piston here. It's another odd thing where it's connected. It's kind of entertaining that it your inside piston drives the front driver, while your outside ones drive the center, or the number 2 drivers. And the chuff rates are sped up for that, so you get the extra chuff for those for that third cylinder. And I do believe these have a custom cab, yeah. So these do have a custom cab for those of you that like fiddling with a cab. As I always say, I really don't care much for Trainz cabs in general. Trainz just doesn't play very well in the cab, in my opinion, but it does have a custom cab, and it's done pretty well. It does look pretty good. Yeah, we're doing 13 mile an hour, and it sounds like this locomotive's moving pretty quick. It's that triple cylinder action, which is really cool. Now our smoke is doing something kind of entertaining. We have smoke coming out of the front stack, not the second. It's kind of entertaining, but you know, it is what it is. All the rivets are nicely detailed. Our ladders, our footboards. Everything's done really well. Very believable. That's just too cool to watch. Overall, it really is. It's very unique. I didn't even know that this was on here until after I bought the model. They do have pictures, but Trainz Forge's pictures on their website is they're kind of small, so it's really hard to pick out the finer details. So I did not know that it had the triple outside valve gear going on here until after I bought the locomotive and fiddled with it for the first time. Yeah, I was mind boggled. I absolutely love this idea. I love watching it. I hope at some point we see one of the 9000s added to Trainz with this setup, because it really is. It's cool to watch. It's just satisfying. That looks so cool. Like I say, I imagine in real life it's an absolute headache to get that to time just right. I imagine maintenance crews were none too thrilled with it, but it's unique to watch. I imagine it's really unique to hear. It's nice that the acceleration is not instantaneous. I really enjoy that. I hate when locomotives, you know, turn your throttle up to 100 and then 5 seconds flat they've hit their max speed. It's one of those irritating things. So it does take a minute to get up to speed. Bear that in mind. I actually don't know what these locomotives top off at. Look at that. Look at the border. Wall-shirt's valve gear already is really fun to watch in general, but just seeing that double set on the outside is just, it's too dang cool. But yeah, there it is, boys. The Washoe Valley 484 War Babies. Available from Trainz Forge. These have been out for a little while now. I don't know exactly when they released them. I do know they've been out for a bit now. I'm certainly not the first one to own them, but it's I think it's well worth the buy. If you like doing some of these freelanced railroads or freelance modeling in Trainz, I think they're well worth a look. If you're a reskinner, you might enjoy having one of these for giggles and squiggles. Like I said, these are really, really small for a 484. You can really make these fit in just about anywhere, even on a short line, because these are quite small, but very satisfying. Well worth a look. Well worth a buy, I think. I believe there's $7.50, so go check them out. I think you'll like them. Looks like that's about where we... Oh, they're still getting speed. Well worth a look. Well worth it. So go check them out. And I will see you guys next time.